everyone, welcome to School at 7. This is Be Smart Learning Academy, right? So here you wake up, you solve, you pass. So here we are solving, here we are passing, right? Students are passing. Okay, so this is your time. Okay, so we focus on exam content. This is a trip made simple and daily questions practicing, which means better results for you. So you don't need to miss these sessions, okay? And there are more sessions that we do in our classes, all right? So this is your daily ECZ advantage. All right, so today we are going to look at one of the interesting subject, and this is biology. Okay, and we're going to focus on animal cell. This is an exam question, so I want you to pay attention, pay extra attention. Okay, and you'll be glad that you did. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so here's the question. This is the question here. Okay, so how many marks? 8 marks, as you can see there, 8 marks, and you need to get all the marks. Don't waste any mark. You need to get all the marks. All right, so let me just zoom it so that we start answering the question. Okay, section A, short answer question, 44 marks. Right, this is biology paper 2. So in section A there are 44 marks. So I extracted this from one of the exam papers. Okay, so question 1, figure 1.1 shows an animal cell as seen under an electronic microscope. So this is an advanced microscope. So this is the structure of an animal cell that is displayed when you're using an electronic microscope. Okay, so question A, identify the labeled parts F and G. F and G. F. What is the part labeled F? What is the part labeled F and G? So you see here, this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. You can see some proteins attached to it. Okay, let me just do a zoom a bit so that you see. I also use my tiny microscope. Okay, my tiny microscope, zooming more parts. You see that? Okay, you see there are small proteins attached to it. So this is a rough endoplasmic reticulum, and this one is a smooth. Can you see that there are no tiny black spots attached to it? This is the smoothie endoplasmic reticulum, and then this is a rough endoplasmic reticulum or reticulum. All right, so let's write the answer. Part F is the endoplasmic, not only the endoplasmic, but the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So F, rough endoplasmic plasmic reticulum. Reticulum, or you can abbreviate it and say RER. Okay, so F is rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, continue. What about G? G here. This is a nucleus, right? Specifically, you can say a nucleolus. Nucleus, but to be specific, is the nucleolus, right? So we're going to say This is a nucleus, right? Specifically nucleus, right? This is the word nucleolus. Okay, so you can see that we can even say the nuclear envelope area. It is within the what? The nuclear envelope area. Okay, so this is a nuclear envelope area. Okay, so part G is the nucleus or nucleolus. So we have our 2 marks there. Okay, you have your 2 marks. Okay, we continue. B, question B. Explain the functions of the parts labeled H and I. Where's part H and I? This here. Okay, let me use my tiny microscope or magnifier so that you see this H here is a mitochondria. See that? See that? It's a mitochondria. Okay, what about I? Where is I? Okay, I is actually here. You see? Okay, so you know the parts. So H is a mitochondrion. Okay, so we say mitochondrion, mitochondrion. Okay, and the function, right? So we can say this is the site of what? The site of aerobic respiration. I hope you know the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration. Oh, let me close my tools bar. Okay, so here you can say it produces energy. It produces energy. Produces energy in form of ATP. In form of ATP. Okay, so this ATP, when it produces energy in the form of ATP, this ATP is formed by breaking down glucose, which the cell uses for various metabolic processes. Okay, write that point down. That is for your revision. Okay, so the mitochondrion, which is part H here, it does what? This is a site of not only respiration but aerobic respiration. So it produces energy in form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, okay, by breaking down glucose, which the cell uses for various metabolic processes. Okay, we continue. H, you see this, it's actually at the edge of the cell, so we know that this is a cell membrane or plasma membrane. So we can say cell membrane, okay, or plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. Okay. All right, the functions. So explain the function of the parts labeled. So it's important that you also mention the part, because the examiner will give you marks there. You don't just mention the functions. All right, so cell membrane, plasma membrane. So we can say it acts. So this part here, it acts as a selectively what? Permeable barrier. Okay, so this actually it controls the entry and exit of substances. So barrier that controls, you can continue here, that controls what? The entry. You can continue from here as well. The entry. Or let me just end here and explain the point, right, so that we don't look messy. Okay, so the selective or the cell membrane, plasma membrane, it acts as a selectively permeable barrier that controls the entry and exit of substances like nutrients, oxygen, and water, and waste products into and out of the cell. Write that point down. Okay, question C. Suggest two cell parts which would be present in figure 1.1 if it was a plant cell. This is a very tricky question, but very straightforward. So if this were a plant cell, you would typically see these additional structures. All right, number one structure, you would see cell wall. Okay, so you know that a cell wall is a rigid outer layer made of cellulose that provides structural support and protection in a plant cell. This is why even if it's placed in a liquid, all right, that will attract or rather transport water into its cell, it won't burst because of the cellulose, all right, that provides structural support and protection. Okay, so it won't undergo hemolysis like in the red blood cell. Okay, it won't undergo lysis. Okay, it will instead undergo placide, where it just expands without bursting. All right, and the other part is you would see chloroplast, and you know the chloroplast. These, you can say, these are actually organelles containing chlorophyll, right? Used for photosynthesis to produce food for the plant. Okay, so you would see this. Not only this, you can also mention, let me just say bonus. Okay, you can even see, you can say large or a large vacuum. You can say a large vacuum. Okay, this here is also a valid point. Okay, so here you have your 2 marks as well. Then here you also have 2 marks and 2 marks. So altogether you have your 8 marks. Okay, you cannot afford to lose these marks. This is why you need to join our reliable online tuitions so that you get all these marks. All right, so we have come to the end of our biology revision session. If you love this content and you'd want to or you need help to catch up fast and get those distinctions, right? I'm inviting you. Here are the details, and you'll be glad that you did. If you need help with ECZ Prep, the details are on your screen. Okay, so all the grades are available and classes are in progress. All right, this has been Tutor Be Smart. Thank you so much for watching. It's bye for now.